Killian, welcome to Tom Kelly's bar in Limerick, your favourite bar.
Thanks, Garry. It's one of my favourites.
One. Oh, we could be here a while. But look, I had a look at this little snug, warm and authentic looking bar. It looks like it could be my favourite as well. But why is it yours?
I suppose the one big thing is that when you walk in, there's no TV, no television. And it's a great bar you can go into day or night. And there's always someone there you have a conversation with, whether they're lads that are there all day drinking or guys that just come in after work for a few pints. And when I'm living in Cork, I'm from Cork, but I spend a lot of time in Limerick. And it was one of my go-to places for either after work or even during, over the weekend to go in there. And it's always a good place. You'd always find good characters in there and have a good chat with them.
So you've got people listening to this, Killian, under the age of 20, and they don't know anywhere that doesn't have a TV. So I guess what we might have to suggest is what's the advantages of going to somewhere that doesn't have a TV? You're likely to probably need to talk to someone beside you, right?
Yeah, well, you have to. Well, you have to talk to someone. Have a chat, or else just sit there and drink your pint on your own. But that'd be fairly boring. But you get to, this. You go in, you learn something, or you learn something about someone, and usually typical Irish people, you know someone that knows someone that knows someone, and it'll all come back to to a common person, which is always quite interesting.
And you get to know the barman as well. I always found in those types of places.
Yeah, in those establishments you do. Yeah, it's great spot.
They were usually like, I don't know the history of this one, but usually it looks like the type of place that back in the day you would have got your groceries there as well, and you probably would have done your bet on the horses or something. You know, the way they had everything condensed.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm not sure too much of the history. There's a great little snug in the front of it as well, behind you, the door on there, and also you'd also maybe have a game of cards going on in there. So I've often gone in there one night and you play cards, play 45 or something like that. 4 or 5 lads go in. So
wonderful.
Yeah, it's really good.
So we're sitting there and you have a choice. You're sitting on the bar and there's nobody to talk to, and the barman's gone off to clean his shoes. Who's the one person in the world you'd love to be sitting there with?
Well, there's probably a lot of fellas, or a lot of people. One person is that I'd love to have a point with is Moss Keane. I think Kerry footballer and played for Munster and played for Ireland, played for the Lions. And I think from reading his autobiography, great character and wouldn't be a man shy for a point, I would say.
Well, isn't it funny the way you remember fellas? And he came from a different era, of course, of rugby days. Yeah. There might have been more socialising going on before the match than play on the day of the match. But was he part of that famous team that might have beat the All Blacks that time in Cork?
Yeah, he was. And he also played rugby at a time when the GA wouldn't allow it. So he used to be. So do you remember when you were playing GA and you weren't allowed to play rugby or play soccer because it was Garrison games for the English? So he used to put a different name down on the team sheet in rugby when he played for UCC. So he used to put down Moss Fenton, I think it was, when he was playing when he didn't want the GA lads knowing he was playing rugby.
Extraordinary to think, and of course he was a Kerry man.
Kerry man, yeah. Was educated in UCC, yeah.
So they may not have known him that well over in Cork.
They knew him fairly well by the time he was leaving, I'd say. As you know, any Kerry man wouldn't be shy, like.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't, particularly when they'd be over in Cork. But the stories, I think you're referring there to autobiographies and stuff. Some of the autobiographies of the lads who played rugby and Lions tours at that time, Slattery and the lads, you'd find that the actual matches themselves were a much smaller part of the book.
Exactly. Exactly.
The off-field antics were something to behold.
Yeah, exactly. But the game has changed now and way of life has changed and a bit different.
Yeah. But so you're there. You're telling me a story. I've come in. Moss Keane's gone home, and teach me something. that I probably don't know. That's a
Teach
good
you
one.
something. I'd say that's fairly hard now, Gary. A man like yourself, I'd say
Well, I
that.
don't know. Now that I have Google,
Yeah.
it's only one click away. But genuinely, tell us a few bits that of things that you think I don't know, because you're an avid reader. I know that, and you like history. So I guess you're gonna hit me with something like that.
Maybe. Do you know much about Napoleon?
Secondary school history, probably.
Well, the two famous things the Cork people, and there's a bit of, well, it's between Waterford actually. Is he's one of his famous horses was from Cork, replacing Bartholomew. I forget the name of it now, but between people in Dungarvan and people in Bartholomew claim that it was from there. But yeah, that's a famed claim for all the Irish. And the other one they say is, and I don't know how proven it is, but two of his doctors were from Cork as well.
Two of his doctors.
Two of his doctors, yeah, at different times, obviously.
Yeah.
He probably killed one because he didn't like what he was telling him. But again, just the kind of I suppose a fascinating character, you know, from the way the amount of, I suppose, wars he won, and I suppose that takes a lot of planning and a lot of, you know, commanding of militaries, etc., which is basically dealing with people. So it's quite interesting reading stuff about him like that, because nowadays it's all about dealing with people and relationships, and you know, so things like that you kind of pick up along the way.
And I tend to agree with you 100%. Is when you look at the history and the evolution of mankind, we're only here 40,000 years, and we only have technology and all these other tools. Sort of, if it was a 24-hour clock, I think it's only a blink of an eye with this technology. So we do sort of tend to replace something that's taken 40,000 years, human interfacing and, you know, understanding how people are. And I think there's a lot to be learned from history. I agree with you with that. What I am really interested about, though, is that, you know, the way they say the winners rewrite history.
Yes.
And what now they're finding is they're going back on our, what we think is history.
Yeah.
They're going back and they're actually unraveling the real truth to what happened.
Yes.
With these people. Because, I mean, they used to discredit those that lost, but they could have done 95% of the work.
Exactly.
And that's really interesting. And what else? Do you read a lot, or do you listen a lot?
I listen probably more so. I don't read that much. I read now and again, but it'd be kind of interesting stuff that I read. Like, it might take me a while to get through. I might drop it down for a couple of months and then pick it up again. Yeah. But yeah, interesting stuff like that. And autobiographies, very interesting kind of autobiographies of kind of famous people and stuff like that. It just kind of gets you away from you know, the grind of the day and stuff like that.
What I find with the autobiographies, probably like yourself, is that there's, no matter whether it's sport, whether it's music, whether it's history, every one of them has one thing in common: they work their ass off.
Yeah, exactly. You
know,
get for free in this life.
Yeah, no, even, who was I reading recently? Something about the lad Ronaldo. And he's the hardest worker in the dressing room.
Yeah.
You know, and you might be, the perception might be that he has all this talent, but that'll only get you seen, and then you got to apply yourself. And it seems consistent right the way across. So listen, it's been short, sharp, and I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And thank you, Killian. I'm now gonna have to go to Audible and download something about the Napoleonic Wars. Yeah, well, the next time we meet, Gary, you can let me know. I will, and next time we meet, you won't be riding a horse and say that this is from the long blood stock of Napoleon or something. That would be fun. No fear of that, yeah. Well, thanks, Killian. It's been a pleasure. Gary. Thanks a million for your time.